Welcome to From the Flight Line. This morning we're so excited. We have Senior Airman Rieger with us. And tell us a little bit about what you do at Seymour Johnson. And first of all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure. So I'm with the Seymour Johnson Air Force Base Fire Department. And so I've been here for just about 6 months now, newer to the area. But with the fire department, it entails a lot. So not just structural and medical emergencies, but also the aircraft side of things. And with us having just over 90 plus F-15s in the area and a new aircraft on the way, it keeps me busy.
I can only imagine. What made you choose to go into the fire department service side of the Air Force?
So funny story. Little did I know, family background actually was in the fire service.
Okay.
I was actually in college at the time for engineering, and I watched my mom use her credit card for my first semester in schooling, and I knew at that point that was my time to do something. So that was the reason I ended up joining the Air Force. And my recruiter came to me and said, hey, we have a job opening for fire protection if you're interested, and that was it. And now almost 5 years later, I'm still rolling with it.
Do you love it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so not only do I love the fire service, but I'm one of the big fans of the military as well. So I'm 5 in now and going guaranteed 20, minimum 20 years.
Fantastic. Now, where have you been over the 5 years since you've only been here 6 months?
So prior to Seymour Johnson, I was at Eielson Air Force Base, which is located just south of Fairbanks, Alaska. And that was just about 3.5 years. And then prior to that, I was in West Texas, so San Angelo, which is Goodfellow Air Force Base, which is where our fire academy for all the fire training is.
So all the climate changes in your first 5 years, just about.
We've hit them all, almost.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can experience that in one day in North Carolina.
You're not wrong. Not wrong at all. That's being originally from Virginia. I'm pretty used to the weather down here, being hot one day and possibly rain the next. You never know.
Exactly. So you're settled into Seymour and the community. Now, you said you've just bought your first home, or you were telling me that before we started
absolutely,
the interview.
Yeah, so I'm married with a 1-year-old right now, and then possibly boy or girl on the way. Don't know yet. We'll find out in about a month.
Okay.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to buy our first home, and it's been a great experience.
Oh, wonderful. So what do you think of the community, and what are some of the things that you enjoy about Goldsboro and Wayne County?
So a couple things I like about the community is, at least where I live, I like the more rural area.
Right.
So with that, it really live in kind of more country. I still live in a subdivision, which I promised myself I would never do. It's a smaller community around here, and because of that, it brings folks closer together, and it's just nice.
Fantastic.
It's hard to really describe exactly what it is about it. There's just something about the area that I enjoy.
Wayne County has always prided itself, the members of the community and of the county, in embracing Seymour Johnson. I grew up on base, so I come from a military family. And I think a lot of folks that have stayed here make certain that everyone that comes to our community is welcomed. And we know Seymour Johnson is an integral part, so I guess that's probably what you're feeling.
Yeah, so that's another thing that's kind of a new aspect to me, is that the prior bases I was assigned to, our military installations weren't necessarily directly near the cities.
Right.
So whether it was a 30-minute or 45-minute drive, here, you roll right out of the front gate onto Berkeley Avenue, and it's right there, your main hub of all the main food sources around town, and that's a different aspect. Not used to the traffic yet.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of traffic down here compared to where I'm from, but it's still like, oof.
There can be times.
Yes, now we're on there, especially in the mornings. Oof.
Oh yeah, I'm certain. So what's a day like for you on the flight line and when you're out there at work?
So a day, all right, let's see. So I start my shift at about 7:30 in the morning, and we go through, we call it roll call. It's when we get a pass on from the other crews that we're on, because obviously we work 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The fire department stays manned. So we get a pass on from the other crews, and then from there, we go ahead and we do our truck checkouts and make sure everything's good for the fire side of things, and then we go on with our days. We do a lot of, whether it's cleaning around the station or public events, things along that nature.
And you can't take anything for granted when you talk about checking the equipment. That's got to be done each and every day.
Yes.
And as routine as it may seem, it's very important because you've got some pretty expensive equipment out there you're protecting.
Absolutely. So every morning we have we use iPads, and on the iPad, every vehicle in the fire department, every trailer in the fire department, we have we go through the checklist to make sure every single item is on that truck every day. We do that because if we go out for a training exercise or a real world emergency, while we're out, if something is misplaced or maybe left somewhere, we have to make sure we have all equipment every day.
That's really interesting. You know, Wayne County is known for its volunteer fire departments. We don't have paid fire departments like your larger cities, and so everything is volunteer, and it's such a crucial part of our community.
Yeah.
And they're individuals that work full-time jobs, but they also protect the community. So it's relatable to what you do because, like you said, it's 365 days a year.
Yeah, no matter what, on shift, whether you're on duty or off duty, you know, the training we go through, we utilize. Whether on the Air Force side, we're a little bit slower when it comes to call ratios. We have our in-flight emergencies, but you know, our fire protection side of the fire department, they do really great jobs with making sure buildings are fire safe, so that if there isn't an emergency, everything immediately gets taken care of.
Right. That's fantastic. So let's get a little personal. Now you've got a little boy that's 1 year old,
Yes.
and obviously the apple of your eye.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's been an interesting year to say the least.
A lot to learn, huh?
A lot. Between that and then with the move down to Alaska, my son was 6 months old, and we
Oh, my
drove from
goodness.
Alaska down. So
Oh, how exciting.
it was an awesome experience. 4,300 miles to be just almost exactly from my previous house to a current home. 4,300 miles with a 6-month-old and 3 dogs in the vehicle.
Well, you have got to have patience.
Oh,
I love it.
I give my wife the credit for that one. She had to deal with me for a week in the truck.
What was your favorite part about making that trip?
I say favorite part, I love driving. I love traveling, and I love just kind of hitting the road and venturing off. So going through Canada and seeing so many different areas that they have there, it was like almost like driving through. At one point, it's like going through the desert, through the cities. Just a crazy experience going through another country, driving through, and it's kind of nerve-wracking to say the least. You know, at least I know if I break down in the States, I call AAA.
Right.
But in Canada, it was a little more nerve-wracking, but it worked out well. We came at a great time where there wasn't any snow through the Alcan Highway. It was just beautiful scenery.
Oh,
Beautiful.
fantastic. Was there a moment where you were just blown away by one particular thing that maybe you didn't know about?
So we had originally driven up from Virginia to Alaska. So we took the same route back. I can't say there was anything in particular that blew my mind necessarily, but
Right.
when we drove up from Virginia, there was snow everywhere. So everything, all the lakes and everything was kind of snowed over and was hard to see. So coming back down, being able to see those lakes that, you know, I played fetch with my pups on the lake that was frozen 4 years prior, and now it's like, oh, you can go fishing there now.
Oh,
it was cool to see the different seasons in the same locations.
Exactly. So what do you like to do in your off time when you're not working, and what's something fun that you and your family get to do?
Well, if we have a chance to get all together and go out and do anything as a family, prefer to go to the beach. We're big, very, very beachy folks, so we love going to, whether it's Duck, North Carolina, Hatteras, anywhere in the Outer Banks. We haven't really explored too much of Raleigh or Greensville too much yet, or just the local areas.
Right.
But we are planning on going to the zoo soon. I believe that's in Asheville.
Ashboro.
Ashboro.
Yeah, not too far.
So many villas and boroughs down here to get used to.
A lot of them. A lot of them, absolutely.
And if my own free time, when I have a chance, I'm big into motorcycles and
Okay.
the adrenaline side of things. So that's my,
Have you ever taken one down the flight line?
no. That would be fun though.
It would be fun. It really would. So, what's a great memory that you will forever cherish from your time there?
There's so many. From stepping on the front porch or out of the bedroom window and seeing the northern lights, that was an everyday
Oh, my
occurrence
goodness.
almost.
Really?
Between the northern lights, up there in Fairbanks, we have a place called Chena Hot Springs, it's a natural hot springs up there. So we'd be able to kind of dip your head underwater real fast, and when you come back up, everything would freeze. You'd frosty white, you'd have the northern lights overhead. It's some amazing, amazing experiences up there. Mount Denali, or Mount McKinley, the largest mountain in North America, is up there, and it's just breathtaking. Growing up in the plains, the flatland in Virginia Beach, not seeing our biggest hill, we call Mount Trashmore, and it's actually technically a pile of trash they put grass on. So to go from that to actual mountains, and the terrain was extremely, extremely
Oh,
wild.
that just sounds beautiful. What a great experience. And do you ever hope to go back there and maybe take your kids back one day?
I would like to farther on in my career, I think. I'd have to discuss with the wife, obviously, because
Yes.
it's a hard adjustment at first with the 6 months of darkness and the 6 months of sunlight. That is one of the hardest things to get used to. Just
Right.
not having adequate sunlight for 6 months will make you go crazy.
I can't even imagine that. I've heard about it, and of course, coming from a military family, you hear about this from your friends that get stationed there, but I can't even imagine how you do adjust to that. So.
I highly recommend that folks take a cruise, at least out of Washington State up to Alaska, and then get to see Anchorage and explore a little bit. But being there for an extended period of time it's a personal preference, because we have a lot of hunting and fishing up there. And it's mind-boggling how much hunting and fishing we have in that area, and how almost empty the state is. As large of a state as it is,
Right.
with just such little populations kind of scattered throughout the entire state, a cruise would be worth it for sure. A 1 week, 2 week trip to experience some of the fun things in the wintertime.
Well, that's some great advice. Now, let's get back to your military career. You're 5 years in. Do you see this as long-term for you? And where do you hope it takes you in terms of your individual career?
So originally, I signed a 6-year contract with the Air Force. They offer the 4-year and the 6-year contract, and I went to 6 because I figured, let's give it a try. I'll give it a full try. And now being 5 years in, I look at it, and even at my 4-year mark, I was like, well, I'm 20% towards retirement, and now I'm at 5 years, and 25% there already. I plan on minimum 20 years, if not a lot farther. I love what I do with the fire department. I love the military aspect of things, and as long as everything keeps going the way it is for myself, I eventually hope to be an E9, Chief Master Sergeant. So that's my goal that I've set for myself.
Fantastic. So you hope to be a leader in the field that you've chosen?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one thing, coming up through the ranks, slowly but surely, you really get to take a step back and really look back at 3 years, where was I 3 years ago compared to now? What have
Right.
I learned, whether it's fire or military-wise, in that 3-year time frame? And it's insane to think you just continue progressively growing, and you don't always realize how much you've progressed in a short time frame.
Well, your attitude is phenomenal. So I would think that you are an inspiration to those who work with you and maybe are even thinking about it. So is there anything that we've missed today that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Oh, I think that's about it. Thank you very much for having me
Well,
on.
no, we thank you very much. And we've been talking to Senior Airman Rieger, and what a great career so far, and maybe you'll come back and talk to us again a few years down the road, especially after baby number 2 shows up.
Absolutely. It'd be an honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And that's it for From the Flight Line.